Hey y'all, I know this one took a while to get out, which I'll explain later. Resident Evil 2 Remake, just add to the recounter. With the Steam port of the game today. Unlike previous Resident Evils, the 2 Remake is the one I have played the most and really enjoyed when it came out, and after playing the original just before this video, I'm pretty excited to see what's different or similar between the two versions. For anyone just joining this marathon, here's a nifty playlist to catch up, but don't leave this video yet, it's important, dang it.
Are you sure?
Is Campy Dialogue still here?
Chew on that, you overgrown son of a bitch.
Does Leon's hair look normal this time around?
Yeah, well, I was supposed to start last week, and I got call to stay away. I wish I'd come here sooner.
And are the controls still as good as the original?
Oh god, yes.
Or even better. Let's get into Resident Evil 2 Remake and see just how good it is.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Unlike the previous games, Resident Evil 2 Remake is the one Resident Evil game I've played many times. Shortly after I played 7, I tuned into the now defunct E3 where Capcom announced RE2 Remake. I have to say I was pretty excited to pick it up since 7 made me really like the series. I played 5 on 360 and had no idea what I was doing. So when the remake came out, I picked that up for the PS4 and played the absolute shit out of it. The gameplay was refined, the third-person perspective still made things freaky, the story was a bit more campy compared to 7, and with the 2 remake, I at that point got an inkling why the original RE2 was so heavily praised. Also at the time, I wondered why Resident Evil 2 didn't get a remake like RE1 did for GameCube till so many years later. It turns out there were some plans around 2002, but Shinji Mikami focused on development for Resident Evil 4 instead. And if I remember right, Resident Evil 4 had many restarts before it finally came out when it did. It restarted about 4 times, with one of those becoming something else. So, in 2015, there was a tease about its development with a full reveal at E3 2018 and fully released the following year. The game reviewed well and sold well with approximately 15.8 to 16.3 million copies by April 2025. This is the combined total from what figures I can find and no per platform amounts. The praise varied from the graphics and presentation, which with the RE engine looks gruesome and creepy to a degree that even RE7 would get queasy with how detailed the zombies are this time around. Criticisms I found were around the multiple playthroughs, and the original game was the Zapping mechanic where making some choices affect the later playthrough as Claire or Leon, making each scenario fairly different. There's something like it in the remake, but not as robust as the original. Just Claire or Leon having slightly different interactions in the runs. I can agree with this, especially after original 2, the Zap mechanic made the 2 playthroughs really mess with player expectations. I'll get into it more later, but the zapping mechanic is underutilized in the remake to say for now. What? No criticism for item boxes being magically connected or how some items occupy the same space in criticisms?
You wanna run that by me one more time?
I'm not joking about that part. That was actually criticism for the original game. So, it was a massive success and continues to be successful 6 years later and is actually on track to be the best-selling Resident Evil title to date. Does it deserve those accolades from a gameplay atmosphere perspective? Let's get into that.
Jesus, stay back!
Unlike the games I've previously played, the gameplay with RE2 Remake is drastically different from them. Just like last time though, players choose between playing Leon, It's My First Day, Kennedy, or Claire, Dude, Where's My Bro, Redfield. Both of them control the same, being able to use all directions to move around, sprint, take about the same amount of damage, and will display damage in their models in-game, and not being controlled via tank controls.
What happened here was a miracle, and I want you to fucking acknowledge it.
What makes the two different are their weapons. For Leon is a very traditional loadout, Matilda his pistol, a shotgun, a magnum, and flamethrower, also a rocket launcher. And just like the original game, these can be further upgraded with items throughout the game, from increasing damage, ammo capacity, less recoil, rapid fire, or better fuel efficiency. And like the original, these upgrades will give a refill of said clip of weapon, at least some of them, fully in standard, and half of a clip in hardcore. With Claire, she gets 3 different handguns, a grenade launcher, the spark shot, submachine gun, and a minigun. The 3 handguns are her start off one that can be upgraded to not only reload faster, but switch between ammo types, becoming a magnum type weapon, a tactical gun with laser sight for more accurate shots, and a revolver type weapon. The spark shot this time around is also more useful, being able to shoot a spike into enemies and electrocute them for massive damage. The drawback being there's little ammo available for it. Claire can also find upgrades for these weapons, unlike in the original version, making Claire more capable in weaponry this time around. There are some notable removals. For example, the bow gun is not in the remake, and regular grenade rounds are gone. These removals aren't too missed, since even when I personally used them in the original game, they had very limited uses. Claire and Leon can also find pouches to increase their inventory slots, with it being fully upgraded to 30 slots. At least in standard mode. Hardcore mode has much less space. Unlike the original, both characters can get these upgrades and not affect the other, which is fine, I guess. The zap mechanic in Resident Evil 2, the original, made this a choice that really affected things, at least in the second playthrough. Even with expanded slots, RE2 Remake lets players discard items on the fly with most items, and even has a checkmark on key items that can be discarded when they're fully used. Also, like the Resident Evil 1 remake, are defensive weapons coming back, with grenades, flash grenades, and the combat knife.
This time around, the combat knife is actually amazing and I recommend it.
These let Leon or Claire, when grabbed by an enemy, at least when not on a stairwell, push them back for breathing room. Making good use of the defense weapons along with their respective loadouts is key, since in Remake, the zombies are much tougher this time, and debilitating them by shooting a leg off being preferable. Herbs also return with similar effects, but with red-blue combos increasing damage resistance, making it easier to survive in the game. And these gore mechanics can be pretty gruesome, especially compared to the original, at least when it's not censored like in the Zero D version in Japan, making some head-tilting decisions. Another addition to the tougher zombies, new enemies and mechanics added for older enemies. Lickers are back and just as deadly. This time though, the devs remembered the TPO that they're blind and can be snuck around when not sprinting or running into them, which I did a lot. There's also these new G-virus creatures that can grab and potentially poison players added into it. There's also these new Ivy zombies that make clicking sounds and move creepily, and if grabbed by them will one-shot you if a defense weapon isn't used. These things are freaking creepy. Mr. X also appears again and is a total menace in the remake.
ほう、向かってくるのか。逃げずにこのディオに近づいてくるのか。近づかなきゃてめえをぶちのめせないんだな。ほうほう。では十分近づくがいい。
Instead of being limited to certain rooms in a original B or second run, Mr. Eds will show up in both runs and will chase Claire and Leon throughout the station, thumping around the station, searching, and will not away anything to get you. It's possible to stun him for a bit to get away, or even get some puzzles taken care of until a gun goes off, revealing your location to Mr. Eds. Mr. Eds, like this, makes the remake much more tense and more often than not, annoying. Also, if you get to a save room before he gets you,
How dare you? He'll look into the room as if you're surviving him is an insult to him.
all I can say is, bro should have been more like Big Bird. Also, Mr. X is more prominent in a Leon run, like in his original canon run in, well, Resident Evil 2, having a boss fight like the original as well. Speaking of bosses, Birkin is back and is encountered slightly differently depending on the run, but both characters fight his ever-evolving form.
Dick move, bro.
with his G4 exclusive to Claire, and G5 being for either character's second run finale. There's also the giant alligator again with some of that camping Leon.
Chew on that, you overgrown son of a bitch.
I'll say this, not a bad one-liner, but I do have some suggestions. So, here we go. Well, this is a crock of shit. I heard the Raccoon City Underground was a gas. I've heard of explosive battles, just not in the sewer system. And finally, that alligator was unusually aggressive. Must have had something wrong with its medulla oblongata.
No, Colonel Sanders, you're wrong.
Now I gotta be on the lookout for a tackle. There's still some campy dialogue here and there, but like the Resident Evil 1 remake, the dialogue is played fairly straight. I mean, even Ada this time around had solid voice acting throughout the whole game, not just with one instance of being questionable.
Leon, that woman was... I have to talk to her.
Nice execution.
You're doing terrific.
Also, Claire and Sherry interactions are far less wince-inducing this time, which I'm all for since the original version made me...
Don't worry, you'll be fine. Come on, let's go.
Ugh. Anytime Claire spoke with Sherry, it was just really freaking weird. The voice acting is A-tier, giving some good performances, and the sound design making the game creepy and stress-inducing since the music is more subdued this time around. Also, like I said, Mr. X's thumping noises can be heard through walls, making him more nerve-wracking when listening for him. Puzzles this time around are very different from the original game, and even if doing a second run, they're only slightly changed, unlike the original RE2 where the puzzles are completely different on who is playing in the scenario. There's also a lot of unlockables this time around, aside from unlocking the second run mode, and some costumes. Most of the costumes this time around are unlocked either by default, finishing at least one run with the character, or at least a good amount of them are DLC. There's Fourth Survivor back with Hunk in an expanded mode to get out of the RPD however fast you want with limited resources. Also returning is Tofu Survivor, which aside from hardcore mode is still pretty tough, but if completed will unlock Tofu's buddies, Cognac, Yurio, Mochi, Flan, and Anin Tofu, each with their own flavor of gameplay and their own loadouts in the same survivor mode. And they're fun to play, and they're a fun bonus that the original didn't have. Other unlockables are infinite ammo weapons. A good chunk of these are unlocked by beating a run in the allotted time and on how many saves are made. For example, to get the ATM4 RPG, Leon has to finish the game in under 2 hours 30 minutes, at least in his A run, and save no more than 3 times for S+ in hardcore mode. Doing this was really tough since I kept playing hardcore mode like traditional RE2 Remake, which led to many tries. I'd only recommend hardcore S+ for anyone wanting a challenge. I didn't do it for Claire, Leon was enough for me. There's also the Ghost Survivors DLC that was added for free after the remake's release, giving some stuff to do with characters that were briefly seen in the game like Kendo and the Mayor's Daughter. A fun addition with alternative scenarios with said characters. And I believe that's all for the gameplay for RE2 Remake. So how is the story in the remake? As per usual, timestamp! Skippy skip for spoilers somewhere around here. Wait a bit. Similar to the original game, Resident Evil 2 Remake follows Claire and Leon in respective playthroughs. Unlike the original game, the canon run is a bit more confusing. I'll do my best to summarize and connect the plot. Just like the original, Leon and Claire meet on their way to Raccoon City, Leon to start his first day at RPD, and Claire is searching for her brother, Chris Redfield, at the Raccoon Police Department. They get separated, and Claire or Leon meet Marvin, one of the last living officers, and begin looking for a secret passage he reveals is in the police department. After finding documents saying that Chris went out of the country to look into Umbrella and unlocking the hidden passage, Claire meets Sherry Birkin before being attacked by G-Virus Birkin. Sherry is kidnapped by Police Chief Irons, with Claire having to find a way out of the garage and give a pendant to Irons for Sherry's safety. Around the same time, and having the same fight with Birkin, don't think too much about it, Leon meets Ada Wong, who's trying to find her contact, a reporter named Ben, who, like last time, was going to blow the whistle on Irons when he's taken out by Mr. X this time around. Leon gets Ben's key, and with Ada meets Kendo, who's been having a pretty bad day, to say the least. Ada and Leon decide to work together, and after avoiding a giant alligator, make their way to Nest, an underground Umbrella lab, with Leon fending off Birkin again and meeting Annette Birkin before boarding a tram. Around the same time, Claire meets Irons at the local orphanage, who prior to meeting was attacked by G-Virus Birkin when Sherry attempted an escape from Irons and was then infected, with Sherry barely escaping underground. With Sherry, Claire makes way to Nest as well after escaping Mr. X and also fighting off the Birkin creature exactly like Leon did. Don't think too much about it. Along the way, Sherry is revealed to have been infected, and Claire has to find a vaccine while Leon searches for a G-Virus sample for Ada after she's injured. Both fight a further mutated Birkin and encounter Annette. She actually helps Claire and Sherry out right before she dies, and also outs Ada as a mercenary to Leon, who still after like 2 hours thinks he knows who Ada is, and the self-destruct sequence starts again. On a serious note, Umbrella has a massive hard-on for self-destructs.
And now I have a boner.
Claire and Sherry find a train car and begin their escape that way, with a final confrontation with the Birkin creature, and Leon fights off the super tyrant Mr. X with Ada's help before meeting up with Claire, and depending on the playthrough, fights the final mutation of Birkin off and finally escaping Raccoon City to live another day, without Leon saying they'll take down Umbrella this time, probably because that never ended up happening. And that's the story of Resident Evil 2 Remake, well, at least more or less. Unlike the original, the story in Remake got very convoluted and confusing.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer. You an idiot?
So, after playing the original game and coming into its remake, I have to say I noticed a few things I hadn't before. Obviously, the controls are different and are very well done. The voice acting is objectively better. I still prefer the campiness of the OG a bit more. The zap mechanic is not well implemented, if at all. The story does hit similar beats, but is still different enough to be its own thing. And there's a lot of new things to play, like the Tofu Survivors and Ghost Survivors DLC. Now, that being said, Remake is not a bad game. It's still a very solid Resident Evil title and does do some things better than the original, but the original does things I like just a bit more. For example, the zap mechanic having choices affect the B scenario. Extreme Battle being out though, not too important. Still, that was pretty fun. And the story's a lot more confusing than the original too. Like I said, that doesn't mean the remake is bad. It just means that original and remake do different things that make them both stand out on their own, which is great since a lot of the time one or the other is better in cases like this. The remake is still a fun ride with a new interpretation of its source material, with its presentation, its plentiful surprises, and plenty of things to do or runs to try, like hardcore mode for anyone wanting more of a challenge. I recommend the remake, maybe not as much as the original since it's still a solid Resident Evil entry for anyone looking for a jump on point. With that said, if you enjoyed watching up to this point, I do appreciate it a lot. If you really liked the video, obviously leave a like, or even comment on it, maybe even, I don't know, subscribe for more of these shenanigans. Really helps me know that I'm entertaining to y'all watching. Now some questions to leave off with. When will Umbrella stop getting off on explosions like Michael Bay?
Not this time.
Why does Mr. X have such a fixation on Leon?
The return of the Y boner with a vengeance.
I'm just telling you now, Mr. Etz, he's not taking you to the prom, man. And does Sherry's ship ever set sail for Claire Leon?
No!
Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, which I probably did, whatever experience with Resident Evil 2 Remake you had or prefer over the original, and will you go check out the remake yourselves? Anywhoosies, when next time we get into Resident Evil, it'll be with Resident Evil 3 Nemesis from GOG. Till next time, bye-bye!